Hello, Maniganjan.
Hello, hello. How are you? How are you?
Doing good, Maniganjan.
Hi, hi, hi.
Where are you now? At your home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Balaji has been came.
He has joined here. Okay. Okay, T. Rao Gauru. Hello, sir. How are you? Hello, Naveen Kumar.
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Naveen. Okay, I think we'll start taking introduction from everyone. Mani, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mani and I'm from Trichy. So I'm working in Tape as a deputy manager. So just I came for a vacation here for my hometown. So,
Thank you. Thanks, Mani. Akati, sir. Akati Rao, sir. Would you like to introduce?
Yeah, hi, my name is Aketi, and currently I'm serving in the Indian Navy, and I'm a project management enthusiast. I'm a certified PMP and PMI ACP, and also
Okay.
Lean Six Sigma Green Belt also.
Wow, you
And
are. Yeah, sir. Sorry. Go ahead.
in a couple of years, I'm going to retire from my service, so I'm just preparing myself for the corporate world.
Wow, great. Okay, really great, sir, to have you here. You served the country, saved our nation. We have all our respect, and also I want to say to you, like, no, you are mixed of like, no, me and money. Actually, I'm also a PFMP enthusiast. I did a
Oh,
PMP and ITIL, I mean things, and he
okay,
did Six Sigma, yeah, and also
okay.
like, yeah, yeah, we did so many certifications coming up and piled up, coming up. Okay. Um, Balaji, sir, Balaji. Could you please introduce yourself?
Tell
We
me,
can, yeah,
sir,
could you please introduce?
myself Balaji. I'm studying BTech third year
Third year. Okay,
in uh,
good, sir.
Takshashila
Great.
University.
Takshashila. Okay, okay. Great, great. Thanks for joining, Balaji. Really excited to have you here.
Okay, sir.
Naveen, sir.
Good morning. Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Simon Kumar. I am studying BTech ADS second, third year at Taxation University, sir.
Wow,
wow.
okay. uh, Abhinaya Shanmugam. Can we have your introduction, please? Just say your name and where you're studying. Okay, thank you. To unmute yourself. Okay, so Harshavardhini just joined. I don't want to overwhelm her by asking, tell me your introduction. We want to know. Okay, Abhinay Sharma, okay, she is in outside. She'll be back in 10 minutes. And the nation wants to know, and we need your introduction. We are not going to do that today, at least, actually. And what is college to corporate and where everyone is getting landing up and what we are going to do today? Any idea, anyone? Why we are having this session today? I just want to hear from you. Come on, I'm so excited today. Any ideas? Yes, sir.
Maybe to get to know the difference between the gap between the requirements for the future and the no required state and desired state.
Okay. Full project management, sir. Okay. Great, sir. Okay, and just trying to be funny now, so making environment light. So hi, this is Joe here. I'm a Elevana founder, and we today we are going to set a rules, some sort of rules here. We don't talk about sex, religion, or politics, and we don't disturb the speakers when they are speaking. And please switch off your mobile phone, or muting your mobile phone is also fine. Basically, please do not disturb the session. Okay, see, these are the basic golden rules I set for every session. Okay, that is what it is. And so we going to have this session theme introduction now. So talking about the theme, right? So one of our trainer, they said, you have given the session to many people, especially the corporates, leaders, entrepreneurs. What about the college students? They are actually required these sessions. And I asked that, yeah, they are really good in communication. Then why we required to do for them, right? So I asked the same question, and she revealed some research to me that is actually shocking. And because everyone, we think about the interview and the stages in, in the same perspective. And what I come to know is, each and every level is different. And as a final year student, otherwise when we are trying to enter into the corporate environment, and what is the mindset we need to have? What is the mindset we need to have? Any suggestions here? Chat is also fine. Any suggestion here? What kind of mindset we need to have? Any suggestion? Any suggestion? What kind of mindset we need to have to enter into the corporate? Otherwise, yes, sir.
Yeah, nothing is permanent. Only the change is the permanent.
Change is
The type of
permanent.
mindset.
Okay. uh, Balaji or Vigneshwar, Harshavardhini, feel free to pitch in. There are no right answer, there are no wrong answers. Okay, feel free. Okay, this is not it is not going to be the your lecturer or the college kind of session here. We are going to enjoy the session today. That is for sure. I'm going to make it for you. So feel free to answer and tell me like Akedi said he said there is nothing nothing to be constant, there are the changes will be the constant thing. And like kind of a philosophical funny anything you can able to answer. There are no right answers, there are no great answers. Okay, I can able to understand you, no problem, because I have run so many thousands of sessions like this. So don't worry about it. You can feel free to talk to me, otherwise chat with me. Any answers we got? Money. Continuous learning, adaptability to new technologies. That is a mindset you need to have. Okay, continuous learning, adaptability to new technologies. Any other suggestion? Any other suggestion? Any other suggestion we have? Any other suggestion we have?
Oh,
Advise me, na? Yeah,
to
money.
Always
strong
strive
communication.
for the value creation.
Always try for a value creation. Okay, always try something, always do something. Continuous learning, adaptability, new technologies. Okay, so these are the mindsets actually we need to get into, when we are trying to corporate, right? So what is the actual thing we need to get into corporate? And when you are started working into the corporate, like what kind of a mindset we need to have? Okay, so with all the drums roll, I'm going to present you not another boring presentation, but the exciting presentation we are going to have here. And that is because you are here. That is what that makes so exciting, right? So we need to bring the CEO mindset here. What kind of mindset? CEO mindset. So what CEO mindset will have? What are the things will go into the CEO? And is it only thing we are going to work on the we are going to learn something and then we are going to work in the corporate? Is that a mindset we are going to bring it over there? So after seeing this slide, what are the things coming to your mind? Feel free to answer. Feel free to answer. I can take three suggestions here. Naveen, Harshavardhini, Vigneshwar, Sai Prabhas Reddy, anyone, please. What do you know about this CEO mindset? What are the things like CEO can handle? Overwhelming? Is that overwhelming, everyone? And I'm kind of like okay, if you come to the video and you can talk to me, it will be really great. It will be because like it is like I'm talking to the wall. Hey, come on. Okay, so CEO mindset, like what is a CEO has it in his mind, like not everything is correct, not everything is wrong, but what is working and what you can able to deliver, that is the right thing, right? So that is the kind of a CEO mindset you need to bring in, and you need to have the capacity and the mindset of the CEO, like how and what is the vision of the CEO has, and that is the vision we need to bring it to the table of the corporate. Is that overwhelming? Is that okay to understand? Yeah, Abhinay Shanmugam, Naveen Kumar. It's so much chat is actually busy. And money or something, could you, someone, could you please, help me, to read this chat? Like, and I think this is getting excited. So I'm very, I just want to need to read the chat. Read the chat over here. Okay, so many typings going on,
Yeah,
but
they are
I'm
typing.
still yet to get it. Yeah, Mani.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they are typing.
Leadership quality. Leadership
Leader.
quality is important when you're joining like a corporate. And is that only thing, like only joining the job and getting the job? Is that the only thing we are expecting? So anyone can be like they have their own product and they can start a startup, and they need to like pitch the products, and they can sell the product, they can deliver the project, right? That is the conviction, communication, and collaboration we have, right? So that is the mindset we are trying to get it. So now you got it. Like any questions you have on this slide, like why the convict, why the CEO mindset, why I need to have it in the first place? Why we should not work out or what? Is that any questions someone is having? Anyone has this question? Or decision making under uncertainty. Super. Who said it? Vigneshwar. Fantastic, Vigneshwar. Great understanding. Naveen Kumar also said, you taking full ownership, thinking big, and making decisions that drive real results. Yes, we need to take full ownership. Accountability is more important. Perfect, perfect. Really great answers I'm getting. Wow. I don't see like there's a college students here. Like I'm seeing like there's a great leaders have been created. Okay. Learn how top leaders think, decide, and act in high pressure situations. Super. Baldra sir is typing something. The nation wants to know, Baldra sir, what you're typing. Okay, great. Leadership. Leadership, that's what when you start working in the corporate, otherwise if you want to work in the corporate, that is the mindset. These are the mindset you need to bring it. So you need to show the leadership, otherwise the accountability. So if you take one job that has been assigned to you, you have to complete it by at any at any cost or scope or quality, you need to do it at any scope, right? So that is what that accountability, that ownership, that is what the corporates will be want to get it from you. First impressions, clarity, confidence make the biggest impact in the interviews. Okay. So he went to the interview now. Okay. We have time, sir. Money, sir. We have the time for that. What are you, sir? Okay. So this is what, that is the mindset. Now, I guess everyone got the mindset, the accountability, that is more important. You need to think like a CEO. The conviction is more important. And the collaboration with the team members, that is more important. The most important above all is the communication. Whatever the ideas you bring to the table, that has to be communicated clearly. Otherwise, nobody knows what your idea is, right? So that is more important. The communication is more important above all, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we can go to the next one, the next slide now. So the next slide says this. So what are the things like when you enter to the corporate, like whenever you want to enter into the corporate, what are the things are required? Anyone? Just you can see the slide and you can able to tell. I think hopefully the slide is clear and you can able to see it, right? Anyone want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand and you can talk about this. What are the rounds, what are the things, did I missed anything here, and what are the things we can expect when you want to enter into the corporate world, MNC world, or what are the things you can expect, you can able to tell that. Walrus leadership. Okay, he is bridge from employees to company. Yeah, CEO's duty is that, it's the bridge for the employees to company mission. So first mission created, and that mission they have to get it to the employees, means what they have to have is OKRs and KPIs that has been given to the teams, and that teams will be will be doing their job. So who am I to tell these things? Okay. So I am Joe here. I'm having around 17 years of experience. I'm a consultant and a leader, and being I'm I have so much of certifications. I did BCA, MBA, MSc, LLB. I'm a qualified lawyer, also project manager, and I'm also a research. I'm also doing the research on the law. I'm going to do that kind of a PhD. It is called a SJD in the US. So I'm doing PhD in Golden Gate University in San Francisco. So this is my profile, and we are running this pro communicator from last year. We are running it, and before that, I did so much of certifications in the corporate, and also uh, through the many universities. So what I understood is if I go into certain program, right, it is not covering all the communication aspects. So I am here to tell you what are the things we can able to cover with this scope of college to corporate, right? So this is me. And now the question is, so what are the things you can expect when you want to enter into MNC? So is that interviews? What are the things will you do? What is the roadmap? What do you think about it? Anything, anything. There is, yeah. Balaji, you want to say something? This crowd is very quiet, very obedient. Why isn't it? Okay, anything you
All
can,
are,
if you're, yes, Mani.
yeah, all are being quiet. You can interact with him and you get some more information about this. He's a guy who will always get some input from your answer. It will be okay for him to continue. Please encourage and you get some more information from him. He's a guy who will give more information. So ask more question to him. That
Yeah,
makes you
so
good.
basically what Mani says is if you don't interact, you won't go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
You will always get some input from your is then only you can also get some more interaction and you can get some knowledge.
Anyone want to interact, anyone want to speak, tell that see, it is there is no language barrier also. You can talk in your own language also, it is absolutely fine with me. It is not like this is the first session, yeah, I can able to understand it. So in your language also, Tamil, I can able to understand Tamil, Telugu, even Hindi little bit, Kannada I know. So I'm good with any language. If you want to interact, please feel free to do that, because I want everybody want to be successful persons, and I want you to excel after this meeting, after this session. I want you to be in the good position. So for that, I'm expecting you have to interact with me. Then only I can able to help you, right? So without interaction, without any ask, I can't able to help you. right? Please tell me, like, please interact as much as possible. Not don't do that, like, just join. I want to hear something. There is some takeaways from you as well, right? So that's what I'm asking these questions. Okay, so there are the interviews, like, interviews will be happen. So what are the interviews are there? Like, the placement cell interviews, the HR interviews, the technical interviews, the technical rounds will be there, and the managerial interviews, the management interviews. Once I got the interview, like, each and every week, like, there's one person will take for the similar or for the same company, for the same position. Each and every week I used to have the interview, and, like, they say, oh, okay, this is technical first round, this is technical second round, third round, and then management first round, second round, and third round. How many rounds, like, I have attended, like, I never know. So much of rounds, like, so much of things. So we need to build that mindset towards, like, these kind of rounds. And we have this group discussions, and we may, like, asked to present, and finally, like, we have this workplace growth and business growth as well, that we can discuss later. First we can talk about these interviews, right? So the placement interview, what perspective they have, right? So what kind of perspective they have? Anyone in the placement cell called you for an interview, so what kind of what perspective they have? Honestly, I would expect a high salary package when it comes to MNC companies. But on the company basis, what they are expecting from us is the question free for me now. Perfect. Super. That is the kind of understanding, right? So, so what kind of things they are expecting from you in the placement cell interview? So, do they know everything about your technology which you are going to work? And what they think about you is how well you presenting the project, how well you doing that. And sometimes in the placement interviews also, like, the direct team member, the direct team leader used to become, and, like, they take this interviews, right? So this is, they know about the technology, they know about everything, but how well you performed in that project which you have worked, how well you did, and how well you communicating, how well you articulating things. These are the things are very important, right? So any questions on this? Any questions on this? Any questions about the placement cell interview? Any questions?
No.
No. Okay. So the next, maybe it will goes with the HR round. So what HR need to understand? What HR needs to understand? Anyone? Anyone want to tell? What HR need to understand? Do you know what is BGV? Anyone what is BGV? BGV? Okay. Okay. Today I feel like, I'm a question, I'm an answer for everything. Okay. So the background verification, and, like, who you are, where are you from, and what is the attribute you are going to show, and did you understand the JD, the job description well? And these are the things, like, that is really matters for them. Okay, 75% of HRs, like, they will be looking in this perspective. Are you, like, as a human being, are you the human being or not? Basically, and where are you from? Like, whether like, this office is near to you, whether you can able to shift to their location. These are the things are really necessary for them, for an HR. And also how going to communicate with the people, and how are you going to show your attitude towards the company. So that is, those are the things are very important for the HR, right? So far we have seen placement, HR. Next is what? Next is what? Please tell, please answer. Yeah, one or two questions, please answer. Are you able to understand what I'm saying, or are you able to understand
Sir, I
what I'm
would like
saying?
to, sir, I would like to ask questions, but I'm in a crowd place. I can't really talk anything right now. But I really want to ask many questions. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that in a chat box, sir.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Thank you, Abhinay. I also read that in the group now. Okay, thank you so much, Abhinay. At least showing the intent. That is more important. Yeah, that is really great, Abhinay. Anyone else want to tell this question? What could be the next round after placement? After this one HR, what could be the next round? What could be the next round? Dharani Sri, Manoj, Syed. There are no right or wrong answers, so please feel free to. I think I'm articulating very well. I believe you are able to understand my language. I believe. Is that so difficult? Please let me know. Are you able to understand how I'm speaking? Okay. Okay. Great. So. So the next, maybe offering an internship, sir, like 3 months probation period to check your work. Okay, maybe that is once they are the rounds have been cleared, maybe they are we will come back to that later, Abhinay. Yeah? So for second, the next one is the technical rounds. What are the technology So the distinct there is a difference between HR and the technical round. Don't mix up the things. So the technology round will be taken by the team member, otherwise the team leader itself. So they know the technology, they know how to apply it, they know how to do it. And whether you have understand the technology or not, what are your gaps and how will you able to serve your team, those things they want to know. Okay. So the placement cell is different perspective. They will be thinking in the different perspective. HR will be thinking in the different perspective. Team leader, they will be thinking in the different perspective. So when you are becoming ready for an interview, right, you need to ask clearly which round it is, whether who is going to take the round. Okay, whether the team leader, otherwise the manager or management is going to take an interview, who is going to take the interview, that you need to ask them really well. Mostly HR will be reaching you out and they will be telling you who is going to take the round. And you sometime they're going to say, okay, this is the second round we are having and you have to attend, but we don't know who is going to take an interview and for in which domain we need to practice, which one we need to practice. Say suppose if you are some full stack developer, otherwise if you are doing all the things in the development the website, if you see the front end front end will be taken by some other person, the back end, the storage and infrastructure will be taken by different people. So you need to understand who is going to take this and do this some background check about the person who is going to take an interview. And mostly you can able to find out in the LinkedIn and do little bit research about them, and you can go ahead and take the prepare for it, and you can attend the interview. So I think the technical round is clear now. Is that clear? Otherwise, just give a thumbs up in the smiley in the reaction mode. Okay, sir. Thank you. At least one I got. Okay, super money two. Okay, just a thumbs up. Otherwise, very bad. Something comment. Anything is fine. Okay. Yeah, Vigneshwar, sir. Tell me. Yeah, okay. You want to talk, Vigneshwar? You raise the hand. I think. Okay. 1, 2. Yeah. I will always give this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 seconds to talk. Okay. And maybe offering an internship, sir. Okay. What can be the process to check them they scam or not? How can we verify? This is the great question, and we used to get this question always. So simply, I will put into the Google this company legit or not, and how they are scamming, and also I'll look into the reviews, especially the Naukri or the LinkedIn reviews. I will get into that. Even the Glassdoor, I think hopefully many people know it. Glassdoor provides so much of reviews. Their company employees itself, they provide the reviews. So these kind of reviews you can able to know about it. And if you feel they are scamming, you can reach out to their employees itself, and you can ask their questions, how well the company is doing. It is not like whether your company is scamming or not, I want to know. That's not going to help you. That you need to have to ask some smart questions, how well your company is, how how many years they have been spent in this domain, and what are the deliverables. Do some market research about them, whether they are in the stock market. You can go to that annual sales, annual growth, how much year on year they have been growing. So those are the things you can do the research on your own, and you can able to find out. Right, I think that question is, I think I have answered that question, Abhinaya. And then so the technical round that is got over now. And what is the next round? Okay, thank you, Agneya. Really great. Okay, finally I answered one question. I feel like no fraud student now. Okay, and the next one is we get into the another round. What is that round is the manager round. Your team manager. Now he's going to recruit you. Otherwise, she is going to recruit you. And when they are recruiting you, and they want to know what kind of attitude you are bringing to the team. Sometimes they won't care about whether you are a new person, experienced person, the technology, we don't know the technology, but they see the attitude, whether you can able to learn it and quickly implement it or not. They will ask such a questions, and then you need to answer in the way that you need to provide the confidence to your manager, right? So it is not typically the technical interview. It will be little bit different. And I think I hopefully I have covered the manager interview also. There is a difference between the manager interview and the management interview also. Okay, so the management interview, it is little bit different. So management, what they say is that is what this person is going to bring to the company. Management interview, right? So say suppose a CEO, otherwise the CSO, and for me the company secretary, CLO, chief legal officer, they took the interview and they think about what is your experience, you had it already. Okay, and what are the things you can able to bring. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what are the things you can able to bring on the plate, and what is it why we need to recruit you as a team member for our company, otherwise to that department? What is what is the profit? Otherwise, what is the impact you are going to bring it? Right. Some of the times, right, for these management interviews, they really care about how much you are contributing to the society, and what is how will you gel with the team members, and how will you make them comfortable when they are working. So that is what the management will think about it. Manager think about the attitude and learning capacity. Those are the things the manager will think about, but the management, they think in the different level, right? So I think hopefully you understand. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Because I gone through all the rounds for you, workflow by workflow. Once getting through this interviews, you need to very much confident, and I want you to be very much confident on all these rounds. So it is not only if you ace to the placement interview, that's it, I'm placed, that's it. Sometime what will happen, sometime placement interview will happen and they will be placed into the company. And I don't want to mention the company, but many of okay, they put you on the bench and they say the project has to yet to come, right? So and they say you need to attend this interview and you have to be placed. So within the company itself, you need to attend the interview, right? So these are the things when you have this mindset, okay, this is the technical round, I need to be very much focused into the technical aspects, and this is the
I mean,
HR round. Sorry, Syed sir, want to say something? Could you please unmute yourself and talk, please? I'm okay. Okay. So this you need to bring that mindset, and you need to be laser focused in those kind of aspects. Why I'm saying is interview means we should not think about 10 aspects at one time. You need to think about one aspect at one time. That is more important to make you the laser focus. All right. So that is more important. And once you are into the company, what are the things you need to know? You need to know how to present. It is not only the PowerPoint presentation. It is your body language, your voice modulation, how you treat your team member while they are in the meeting, whether did you ask the questions, whether did you get their perspective or not. Okay, these are the things as a team meeting, in the team meeting, have been expected. Okay, so the presentations are very important. And in the workplace growth also, the communication is very important. And the business growth, when you are trying to the business growth, why the what are the things when you're doing the business growth is very important. The negotiation, facilitation, and how you delivering the items, and these are the things very much important. And sometimes you are ended up in the sales team. You are the team, you are the startup owner, you are the founder, you are the leader, right? For that time, what are the what are the things you have to do, and how you are ready for that, how you are ready for that, what are the things you guys are doing differently, how you are ready. Anyone answer this, please? Yes, Shanmuka sir. Shanmuka Puchit, want to tell something? Shanmuka Puchit, I think somebody unmuted themselves and they try to talk. Okay. Any if you want to chat, feel free to chat. I'm good. I'm good to read. As well as good as I'm have eyes I can able to read the chat, right? Okay. I think you guys are speed types, TypeScripts. How many of you do the vibe coding? How many of you do that? Vibe coding, Chat GPT, that's becoming old, right? Chat GPT nowadays, Claude, or what are the other AI tools we have nowadays? Only sometimes, sir. Sir, only sometimes I will use the Chat GPT, not always. Okay, I learned it. Yeah, 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 money.
Yeah, Copilot is there for white coding. GitHub is there for white
Copilot.
coding.
GitHub, okay, GitHub Copilot. Super. The TypeScript. You guys love it,
Mm,
na? Yeah.
it
You
do
just
the all
provide
the
the prompt,
stuff.
it will provide all the programming.
Yeah. If you paste the program and ask the prompt also, it will be clear all the things.
Okay, great. So now the AI days are coming up. So we need to know about these tools. So I want to say, the brain, the emergent anti-gravity. Wow, Gemini AI, super. Cloud. Okay, Cloud again. Yeah. Okay, what are the AI tools you guys are using? Yeah, I need to know, what is the majority tool you guys are using? Lovable, yeah, that's a website creation, right? Super. Lovable one, yeah. Replit, okay, that's a tool. Okay, Replit, I think that is also
Uh,
the emerging website media creation tool. Stitch, anti-gravity. Oh, anti-gravity, many people are using Stitch. Okay, Orchids, fantastic. Okay,
Monas is there.
Monos. Firebase. Okay, I don't know what is the Firebase for. Cloud Opus, yeah, obviously, yeah. That's a yeah from Opus Sonnet or Haiku, Claude Lovable Gemini, Claude Copilot. Okay, hopefully your assignments have been done by you. Bubble.io. Okay, great answers coming up. Really good. Okay, super.
They all
Yeah.
forget about duplicity, I think so.
So nowadays, why I'm asking is nowadays there are this AI days, right? So it is expected to be more than Gamma. Yeah, this is also created by Gamma. Yeah, black box AI. more like more than a Slack developer, this vibe coders now actually doing everything for a company, and everything for if they have set it up for an infrastructure, they can able to do the DevOps. And if you are the developer that doesn't want to know everything in the .NET or ASP or JS or anything, they just come in and do the vibe coding and start delivering things, right? So that is why I'm asking, because I can see India is growing in the different level, right? So India is growing for the startup heaven for the world. And I'm seeing so many leaders are getting created. And once they are able to create themselves, right, as an entrepreneurs, as a the startup owners, founders, they have to deliver the sales pitches, and they have to explain it properly, and they have to articulate the things properly. If they are having on a product, the fantastic product it is. If it is not articulated well, what will happen? No use, right? So we need to articulate it very properly, and that is why, I was to say, the communication is very important to you. Okay, so I think hopefully, I explained this presentation. I mean, this slide very well. We are going to have some other presentation. I will try to wrap it up as much as fast. Okay, I don't want to bore you. Actually, I think I'm not boring you. Please let me know, sir. You are very boring, sir. I don't like you. Please go ahead. Any suggestions like that? I think I'm interesting, I believe. Okay, let me continue with this. Okay. Okay, so these are the numbers we have. Nearly 1 crore people are coming out of the freshers market, and 12 to 15 lakhs or engineers, 40 lakhs or arts and science, a diploma in 10 lakhs, and the management 4 to 5 lakhs, they are coming up. And there are tier 1 colleges, tier 2 colleges, tier 3 colleges, and these are the placements numbers we have. So many at times, the research says it's this is run this research has been run by our Kalivani madam. She has to come. Actually, is she available? I guess she available. She has provided these numbers, really great numbers. It's actually, and so yeah, Mani, you're saying something?
Yeah, he's not in the
Okay,
mid.
meeting. Okay, perfect. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay. Anyways, so why we are having these numbers is I want to say it many times. It's not important which tier college you are. Whether you are an IIT, otherwise whether I am from the tutorial college, that doesn't matter. What matters is you have the great product, and you are articulating it very well, and you can able to deliver it for the people, right? So that is more important. Okay, so many at times, right, many at times people think come on, only the IIT people they will take, only IIM people they will take. It is not that. Actually, it is important that what you deliver, what is your product, what is in with you, that is more important. And how you articulating it, how are you telling that, how are you presenting it, that is more important, right? Your communication is more important. I can see the Harvard people, they'll be ending up with the CEOs, or they're becoming a great lawyers, economists, and many things they are able to do. But they are the tier 3 people, they are the people who runs the world. Apple, if you take an Apple, Google, whatever the big organization you see, these people are running these organizations, right? So, and you can might have think as a fresher, what I can able to do. See, whatever the CEO, like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, and whatever the CEO, see, they are the freshest ones, right? So you need to you need not to think about when I will go, whether I can have have that thing or not. I never know. So don't have that kind of thing. Think. I don't say think positive. You need to think like a CEO. Okay, so you need to think like a leader, accountable person, and you are a great presenter, you are a great articulator, you are a great speaker, right? If you enter into the hall, people will stand up and applaud you for your ideas. That kind of a confidence you need to have in you. Right. So with that thought, we can go to the next slide. You have understand, I believe. Any questions so far? Any questions? Any questions? This 44. Okay, that's a what I don't know what is that tool. Okay. So what are the things like we need to have the hook, the light introduction, what a unique way of telling the things, and what are the challenges you faced, and what is the action you have took, and what is the belief you have, and how you are closing. So the three things are very important. Okay, you seeing like you entering into the office and you got the escalator, that's a lift, right? You enter into the escalator, suddenly you saw a CEO, suddenly you saw a management person entered into the lift. What will you do? Any guesses? Any guesses? Just say hi. I am. I am. I am. What I am? What kind of opportunities we are missing? Dharnishri used to be like very interacting student. What happened? Yeah, many people. Deepa Swaran, Billu Jaipal, Mohit, Sheikh Farhana, Sarukuri Udayasri, Naveen Kumar, Pujita, Humera, Sandhya, Jagadishwaran, Abhinaya, Purushothaman, Navya, Balraj, Sai Prabhas Reddy, Vigneshwar, Ashavardhini, Balaji, Aketi. Okay, I'm asking you this question now once again. You met the management person into the lift. What will you do? What will you do? This is kind of like lifetime opportunity for you. What will you do? No answers?
I wish him, sir.
You wish him. Super. Next, what are the things you can do? Just pull him out of the lift. It's not gonna happen. What are the things can be done? Anything in the lift, in the chat also you can able to say. Don't say like pulling out of the lift. That is very bad of me. Okay, don't follow that thing, that rule. Hello everyone. Good evening. Just an evening has been started, right? Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you there? Just put into the mute and you can go ahead and we can speak. Somebody is speaking like why we need to answer? Huh? Hello?
I will, yes, sir, I will start like just an inquiry of their status. Then I will start a new small conversation.
To the small conversation. Super. Great, sir. Great. You wished him, you had a small conversation, right? So basically, I'm going to say the tip to you, like everyone. Okay, so once I got this person in the management, when they came to the lift, right? I'm just going to have only 1 minute, right? So within that, I need to make an impression. How I can need to make it, right? So how will you do that impression? Having like a fine hairstyle, okay? Uh, hello, sir. How are you? Huh? Is that going to happen? We maybe only any one of the employee for them, right? So what I will do, what I used to do earlier, that is different. What I'm going to do is, that is what I'm going to do is, what I will do is, otherwise, what you can do is, first introduce yourself. Hello, sir. How are you doing? And my name is Joe. Really great to meet you. And sir, really, I saw your article last week. That is so impressive. I'm really inclined with that project, and I want to work this kind of project. And I'm working in this department, and really wishing you all the very best, sir, for that project success. And if you want other person to look into work on this project, please, let me know. I'm interested into joining in that project. And I will leave him all the very saying the congratulations or the all the very best to him. So did I made the impression or not? Did I made the impression or not? No, didn't I? Yeah. Thanks, Aketi sir. Okay, so we need to start appreciating, we need to introduce ourselves. Here, what happened? I introduced myself. I appreciated his deeds. That level itself, that time itself, he got impressed. Okay, he knows about me, huh? Really? How the Balaji? He knows about me. You know what? That's what they think. He know people know me. Okay, for the things what I do, and sometimes they need a kind of appreciation. Small appreciation, right? Those are the things are really needed for the people. That appreciation you have to provide it to them, right? And after that, what is happening is and you also showing the interest on their projects. And then what will happen is definitely once you got to the task, and in that project, if some requirements of came, and really think about you first. First, he will ask you, right? So that is the growth. That is a workable growth for you. Okay, so Harini, okay. So these are the things small stuffs small hooks in sales you never know. In sales, I can able to tell to you, you never know when the hook is important. The hook. What is hook? The first place. The hook is why don't you do it within the 2 days? Here we go. This is the person who's having this kind of issues, and with my solution, they are able to do these three steps, and after that they are able to do it within 2 days. This the solution we have provided through this process, and then they are no, they are really happy, and they got 3x result, 10x result. When you say this, right, there is a hook, there is a value you are providing, there's a process you are providing, and there is a CTA, call to action also you are providing, right? So these are the things when you go into the entrepreneur, otherwise you are negotiating things, otherwise when you're facilitating things, these are the things are very important, right? Now we're going to the next one. So far, any questions so far? Am I the chatterbox, only chatterbox here? I feel very. Hello, hi everyone. I only got some of the introduction. I think you could start putting your introduction here in the chat. So we can have all the introduction at once, right? Okay. So the next one is once you have entered into the corporate, the email etiquettes are very important, and it is not barging everything in the one sentence, and making it, you need to provide some gaps over there, and making them to breathe space to read that email. You should not make it paragraph to paragraph. I know these many things, but it is very important how much you know. It is very important how much well you are explaining things with a simple sentence, right? Like Abdul Kalam, and how easily he make the things very simple. In very simple words, he can able to make big statements, right? So like that, whatever the complex things you have, tell to yourself first. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand this rocket theory? Are you able to are you able to understand the PostgreSQL? Otherwise, the JavaScript which you are going to tell to the management, are you able to understand yourself? First, you have to tell to yourself, okay, I understood it. Once we are telling to the others, right, to others, whether they are able to understand. Okay. So once you are typing the email, this is not important, what you understand. This is important, what other person will understand with your information. right? So this kind of email etiquettes are important. And uh, like respecting the people, and hey, could you please do this? People think, okay, who is this asking to? Is he misdialed me? Okay, so little bit having the respect, and in the signature, need to have it, thanks and regards. Similar thing, not yours truly, yours faithfully, not this is not going to work in the corporate. And they there's a distinct difference between the Indian corporate and the L&T and all, they still think about yours truly, yours faithfully, like that. But once you come into the real MNCs, right, they thought about with thanks and regards. So these are the things they will expect it. And also you have to show the respect in the words. Okay, it is not respected madam, it's you need not to start like that. Hello sir, that is important. And also, instead of saying sir, he, who, they know that what is pronouns, how to pronounce their name. So for male, how you pronounce it? Anyone? Male. How will you pronounce it? So there are the declaration in the MNCs. They say I'm the male, I'm the female, I'm other, like transgender, maybe the LGBTQ plus community. So how will you differentiate it? How will you differentiate it? How will you differentiate it? So they are saying he, him, himself. Then you can mention it he, himself, like that. And if they say she, her, herself, then you can write the email in that in that sentences. She said she will be doing it. That is fine. And when they they declare themselves, they, themselves, theirs. Okay. So these are the things you need to remember. Okay. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Is that clear? Is that clear? What I'm saying is clear. Thank you, Abhinaya, for that thumbs up. Anyone else? Anyone else? Whether I'm very fast, please let me know. I will be a bit slow also. And please let me know if you have any difficulties. Please let me know. Okay. So these are the three pronouns you need to make when you're writing the emails, right? So you need to provide sentences, paragraph kind of sentences. Give a lot of the white space, within 10 seconds you need to provide the most of the information in the email. It's not paragraph to paragraph. And sometimes it is required when you're talking to the to your colleague, especially if you're a technical person, you have to write the all the information, and you have to present it properly. When you're talking to the management, all the information is not required. Maybe the bird's eye view, what is just happening, you just provide it in the bird's eye view. Make the complexity things very simple, they can able to understand it. That's why they're in the management, right? So make it simple for them, and make it detailed for your colleagues, and also for your subordinates. Is that clear? Is that clear? Email etiquettes. Any doubts so far in the email? Sir, if I'm doing this, is it right or not, right or wrong? You have any questions like that, please let me know. This is the time. Because for me, you are spending your most precious time to me, and I value it so much. Whether you are valuing it or not, that is up to you, but I am valuing your time, right? You can ask your questions this time, right? So this is Saturday evening, you are here to attending this session. I really value your time, you are spending here. And it is not money, the perspective, I'm not talking about that. The time is more important, most valuable thing in the world for me, that you are spending it for me. So really thankful to you for that. Any questions so far, please let me know. Please feel free to ask any kind of questions. There are no right questions or wrong questions. There are no right answers or wrong answers. Okay, feel free to ask, then only you can able to get it. Okay, hope you can getting it. And we can go to the next slide. And how to use the LinkedIn. We have the great LinkedIn person here. I know that is Manigandan. He's actually a career growth expert. Actually, he can tell you what to do in the while doing the search of job, and where to search it, and what is the filters, what are the filters you can make it. Like Abhinaya asked me about, like, whether the company is legit or not. Like, you can do that filters in the LinkedIn itself when you are searching it, right? So LinkedIn is the most powerful job searching tool in the world, I can say to you, right? If you use it properly, and when you are applying to the companies, don't use the same resume. Make it, change it to their requirements, job descriptions, and apply it to them. That is going to really work for you. And also use the keywords what they are using. Some companies, right, they will be having some distinct keywords that you need to understand. What are the keywords they are using? And we respect people means, like, you need to think about, okay, this people is very important keyword for them. You need to talk their language. You need to talk their language. Okay, so you need to give that feeling, like, already you are one among them, right? So while you are applying the job, don't send the same resume to them. Send a different resume with the different keywords, and also make it ATS compliant, and make it very easy. That will make yeah, HR's job very easy, because if your resume is ATS compliant, right, they just need to apply that into the form, and everything, like, will be applied it itself. So they prefer that ATS compliant resume. Hopefully you understand the LinkedIn. And anything, any questions so far? Any questions so far about the LinkedIn? See, if you are missing this, like, and if you feel like, there is no value in this thing, like, it will be very bad of me. Like, it is like, I didn't given this session correctly to you. So it is better you ask questions. If you have doubts, please ask me. This is the time. Otherwise, provide it in the chat. And also, like, now and also after this session, you can also DM me, and I can also answer it to you. Okay. So the next one is, like, the HR interview. Like, what this we have discussed already. Like, what are they required? Like, the communication and the clarity and attitude. Whether, like, we are showing my family, like, we never came to this MNC. This is the first time I'm coming. And like, you should throw the red carpet to me, and you are asking questions to me. If you have this kind of attitude, right? Like, okay, this person, whether this person learn or not. Okay, that kind of thing. And otherwise, madam, whatever you give, I will take it, madam. Whatever the salary you give, I will take it, madam. This kind of attitude is also danger. Okay, you need to know the mid path, right? And you need to also answer that question. And you need to find the language, and what is the culture they have, right? The most important thing in joining the company is to know their culture. Know their culture. What is their culture? And is that not only, like, really, regions, and what are they, where are they having the company? It's not that. Like, what they believe, what the company believe, what the company vision, mission, how they're doing it. Knowing that company culture is very important, right? So before attending the HR interview, please know these stuffs. Okay, so how the things will work, what are the keywords they are using, and how to behave like that one. Like, that if you are applying for a TCS, like, how to behave like, TCS person, right? So yeah, if you are applying for the Infosys, how to behave like an Infosys person, right? So initial days when I came to Bangalore, right, people in 2007 and all, people used to wear the mostly the white shirt and the tie, and they will go for the MNC jobs. Okay, that is the culture there. And you should not mock it. Like, I will come in the t-shirt nowadays. Like, the round neck t-shirt is also fine in many MNCs, but that culture is changed. But if the company is following the similar culture, you need to know that. Okay, then if you are attending the interview, it will be very easy for you. Okay, right? So far, is that clear? Otherwise, did I confuse you? Is that fine? Okay. Any questions you have, please provide it in the chat, yeah.
Hi, sir. I got a home, by the way.
Okay, one second, Ebony. I think I'm unable to hear you. Could you please bit louder? I'm really, like, kind of a deaf person here. Could you please?
Okay, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course. I can able to hear you, Abhinaya. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I have a lot of questions, sir, but I can ask them at the end of the interview.
Uh-huh.
And second of all, you gave your introduction about yourself, sir, but I can't really properly get that. Can
Mm-hmm.
you tell us a bit about yourself more?
Okay. Okay, I'm Joe here. And I said, like, given that all the degrees and everything here. And I started my career in the MNC. It is actually I did so much of work in Chennai, like so many companies I have worked, and in the construction companies and no, not a construction company means like not a civil one. It's a mechanical construction companies, fabrications units. There I have worked, and I also worked closely with TPL, Tata Projects Limited, L&T, and Vedanta, Navayoga. There are so many companies like now which where I worked closely with them, and then I lost a job in between, and in 2005, 2006. Maybe people who's from old Chennai, maybe guys are born or not, I'm not sure. I'm the person who is also involved in the Pudhiya Viranam Thittam in Chennai. It is we provide the water from Veeranarayana area. There's a lake in the Viranam, and from that to Porur. The Porur lake is filled by the Viranam lake, right? So I'm also involved in that project. So very that is very sophisticated, very the media focused project that time. So I was involved in that as well. And 2005, I lost a job and I did some freelancing thing, and I worked in the couple of journals. I worked with an Australian media company, and then I moved to the MNC company Thomson Reuters. It is 2009. I have joined as a desktop support specialist. When I joined, I used to people in Bangalore, right? They are very much fascinated in talking in English, and the communication is very really great. I can able to say. And when I joined, I used to ask people, "Hey, I also want to talk like you. Please tell me, yeah. I also want to talk to that girl, and I also want to talk to that manager." And look, now nobody is responding. Yeah, I used to ask, people say, hey, yeah, you need to talk about this, and you have to chat about this, and they give these formulas, but never it doesn't work for me. But where I got hit is after 5 to 6 years later, right? I got a cybersecurity project where I was involved, and I started involving in that project very much, and I was delivering it really great. And in the meetings, right, when I'm delivering it, the great work, the meetings, I couldn't able to talk to them. The people are from German, French, or US and UK. When they joined, while they're talking itself, my confidence is gone down, down. That's it, downtrodden. I can able to say, right? So I my friend he's a really great communicator, and I asked his help and really helped me. And he it is like he's only doing all the work, and my work I couldn't able to project it properly. And after one day, what happened? He said to all the people, see, these many days, this project isn't done by me. This guy has done, Joe has done that project. So people was they were so much surprised to know it what this person is did. Why didn't you told I said no, I have very bad in communication. I couldn't able to talk like that. Then one day one person has talked me to the institute, and that institute actually made me as a good communicator. I won a couple of public speaking championship, and I'm also the leader, and I become the pro and become the enterprise and the enterprise leader and the project manager. Now I'm leading the site in one of the consulting group. So this is my profile as of now, and and also I did a LLB, like lawyer, because in the project management, when I'm doing the project management, right, I couldn't able to understand the lawyer's language here. Really, I can able to say I don't know what is disposition and juxtaposition. These are the vocabularies you couldn't able to know about it. So what it was, I couldn't able to
I have a
take
doubt.
it.
Like,
So I became a lawyer and I studied
sir,
law and I became a lawyer. Sorry, Abhinaya,
you,
saying something?
can you can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
In the product management, why there is a need to learn about the law? Is there any like specific
So
need?
project
That,
management it is. So project management, I have been placed in the legal department, and that is the legal department for the company itself. So I used to handle the compliance and data privacy projects. So I need to make the people to work in these projects, and I need to get their works done. And there are the products are there. Like now I have to deliver those projects and products within a time. So they doesn't have any project manager and they doesn't know how to do it, deliver it. So I'm the person who told them this is how you have to do it, phase by phase, otherwise the agile. There are so many techniques are there. So that is a different learning for me as well. So many people are not legal project managers. That kind of niche is very very unique. It is. So that is what about me. I don't want to tell more about myself. I want to hear from you guys. Okay. Yeah, Abhinay, hopefully I answered your questions.
so it's like more than 15 years of experience, right, sir?
17 years you can able to say
Oh.
16 years in Thomson Reuters itself. So 1 year now in the uh consulting business. Yeah.
How many companies that you have switched, sir? Like you have told many of them. Like I can.
See, in
I mean,
Chennai, right, in the four to
yeah.
5 years, like small companies, colleges, I have worked. And and the Thomson Reuters, I joined in 2009 and left in 2025. Only one company, one MNC so far, and another MNCs now which I'm working. That's it. You're asking so
How
many
do
intriguing questions. Good. Yeah, go ahead.
like
Hey, I shouldn't want to be
you
my interview here. Yeah, go ahead.
that's this might be intimidating, sir, but sorry for like asking too many
Yeah.
questions. But like actually, you were switching from companies like in a. It feels like in a short period of time you are working there and then again switching to another company. How the adaptability works? Like, uh, is
So I
it
worked for
possible
the
to
same
like?
company for 16 years, and within that 16 years, right? So I worked as a desktop specialist, and also I'm good in learning technologies. So I went to this enterprise support Windows team, and then later I did a PMP project manager, and then I moved to the legal team. So these took 3 4 years, 3 4 years, 3 4 years like that. That growth is not suddenly one day, 3 4 years, like every 3 to 4 years that development is there. So the basic thing I want to say you is the brain. The brain is very important and intriguing thing. From 9 years until the 9 years, your brain will be active so much, and you can learn so much, so many languages, so many things you can put input in your brain. And after that, what will happen? It started laser focusing, and sometimes what will happen is after 40 years mainly, it will be your brain. It will stop it is not stop learning new things, and it will start believing in certain things. And what will start believing is whatever we believe, this is what, if I have this characteristic on you, I start believing you, even though if you have grown into the different level, I start looking into you when I started looking into you, right? So this brain is very important, and what we need to do to develop is we need to start keep on learning. We need to keep on being a student and learn new things. Sometimes you need to unlearn many old things and learn new things also. So why I'm asking the unlearning old things is you can't able to keep many things in your brain. So what you can do is you need to learn new things and update yourself. That will gives you the promotion. At least not in your career. Personally, it will give you like, that feel of like you are growing, that kind of sense it will provide it to you. Did I answer your question, Abhinaya? Maybe I'm very philosophical here.
Yes, sir. Got this.
Okay. Okay, kind of understood, sir, but kind of okay. Okay. So hopefully, like any other questions we have? Any other questions we have? Okay, we can go ahead with the another slide. Okay. So the manager interview we have saw like, what manager will be like, thinking about whether you have the ownership, team fit, and growth mindset, whether you have, and what is the attitude you're going to bring it, and how will you going to gel with the team members. These are the things like, manager will think about it. This we have already discussed. And if you have any questions, we can move ahead with this next slide. Okay, the CEO round, which I said, like, the executive round, what they are looking to that, like, their vision and value, is that matching your vision and value, and whether it is matching yours. Okay, so that's not the culture, whether he or she, Abhinaya, will be fitting my culture or not, and whether they are having that curiosity of learning, and there are new technologies are coming up, and whether they are like, very interested in knowing about it, whether from knowing about it and bring the value to my company or not. That is what like the management or CEO level people will think about you. So these are things like, it is very important, like, whenever you are entering any company, right? So you need to have this kind of perspective, and when they are asking questions, right, you need to shift over into that step, and you need to answer it, right? So this is this any questions you have so far in this management manager? So that's what I said, manager is different and management, the CEO level questions are different. Okay, so remember that. And of course, like, the resilience, the characteristic, whether you can handle the pressure or not in the critical situations, that is more important, sir. Okay, that is more important, madam. That's what like, very everybody say, like, the team, the peers, the management, everybody push you very hard, and like, they making you like, oh man, I'm working 12 hours, I'm not able to complete this. How are you going to handle that pressure? Are you going to delegate some of the things? Are you going to work as a team? Are you going to work as an individual performer? Okay, so individual contributor. Are you the IC? Whether this work required IC, IC means individual contributor. Whether this work required IC or not, whether this work required a teamwork or not, that you need to know from the job description, and you need to answer it. Okay. So hopefully you got all the like, all the perspectives. Any perspective if I missed, please let me know. Please let me know. The nation wants to know. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just an evening we have. It's just 8:14 now. I can able to see. Hello. Any questions? Any questions in the chat? Is that a boring? Sir, very boring session, sir. What, sir? You should dance for us. Okay. I should be a little bit entertaining, right, guys? Okay. No, I'm still boring, I believe. Okay, leave it. And we can go to the last slide. Any question and answers? Okay. It's your turn now. You want to talk about any of this topic? Anyone? Please let me know. Nobody want to talk about anything? We know how to handle the placement, sir. We know how to handle it. What are you talking, huh? How many movies we have seen, huh? Huh? Okay, Sarkuri Udesri. చెప్పండి మేడం గారు. హలో అభినయ. యా, ಎನಿವನ್? ನನಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡಬಹುದು, ತೆಲುಗು తెలుసు, ತಮಿಳ್ தெரியும். I don't want to kill Hindi, by the way. So, okay, is that it? Is that it? Okay. Okay. So, what you guys learned about one thing in this session? What
So
you
can I
guys
ask?
learned one thing? Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. So this section is also kind of personal guidance. Can I ask related to that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, sir. So first thing is, I joined university, sir. I got good marks in my board exams, but somehow related to financial issues, I got into this university, which I wasn't fulfilled with that. So my first year and second year, I just regretted the whole choice of choosing this college. I didn't got any facilities like which I for my marks. I could have get into an nice college where they will have the lot of facilities and the placements drive everything and all. So my first and second year was went like this itself. And also I also started preparing for my placement drive, but the companies were coming here were uh, average package 4 to 5 lpa 6 lpa something like that. So I started before itself, so like DSA, and other than that, so side development as full stack development, which is a great technology. And also I started machine learning thing also. I started learning, and in between, I just got a break in there, and for months, more than 3 months, I just got a break in there, and I didn't even started anything. Again, I have started continuously learning, sir. Then again, for me, third year came. I'm still learning now, and the placements were came. So I have the two opportunities. Like now I have the placement, sir, which is for 4 to
Good
5
for you.
LPA, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, sir.
So, see,
But
suppose a person is from Udupi, right? We have this
mm,
thought, right? If the person from Udupi, if he cooks a food, I mean, if he become a chef, right? We have this belief that that food is obviously good, right? Food is obviously good for them. Like they prepare it,
yes,
the food is obviously good. What if the person, who came from Chennai, what he have to do? Any answers? What one person have to do when the person is coming from the odd places? Anyone?
maybe some other work, sir.
They have to prove, right? So what is the
Yes.
platform to prove? Okay, maybe if you are a programmer, if you are a CISO, like a cybersecurity specialist, if you are doing the different field, if you are in the different field, what you need to do is you need to go ahead, check for the hackathons, and what are the the challenges, championships is going on. You can involve yourself. You can give the name and involve yourself. Try to be like a team member for them and work out and provide the solution. And sometimes that is actually providing the proper value. It is not you have to be tier one college. I need to my recruitment is going to happen immediately. It is not that. It is have to, you have to prove yourself. You have to show your presence. You have to say your ideas. Where you can show your presence and ideas? LinkedIn. There are so many platforms are there. You can do that, and you need to present yourself properly. You need to articulate your things properly. Then you will be definitely identified and you'll be grabbed by the MNCs. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we are ending up the presentation here. So one thing what we have learned today, what is important, I want to ask this question. The nation wants to know. The nation wants to know, everyone. What is the one thing you want to know, like, from this session? What you have learned, one thing from this session? One word. One word. You can type it. I'm going to stop this session, sharing. You can say it, otherwise you can type it. Come on, chat. No, like, whichever is possible. The chat window is open.
About the qualities for to attend an interview, sir, and
Okay,
like
qualities
what all the
we need to
interview
have.
process, what are the
Okay.
process will be in the interview. So
Okay, great. Keep learning continuously. Super, sir. Fantastic. The process, the keep learning continuously. These are the things like we have learned it today, and I can say like Manigandan, Balraj, like these are the people's already like they had like very good testimonials for us. They are the people like testimony, real testimonial for us, and these people like already attended our sessions and. There is one thing called pro communicator session which is we are running 90 days. For 90 days we are running it, and for this session like you can learn many things. I'm going to explain it to you one by one. So what will you get from this session? That is, I'm going to tell you. Are you able to hear me? Any disturbances, anything? Please let me know. Are you able to hear me, everyone?
Yes, yes, we can notice.
Okay. Okay, you're able to hear me. And I think you're able to see the screen. By the way, I want to say it like, what will you get from this Pro Communicator session, the 90 days sessions? So what we are having is like, after the 90 days, we'll be very confident and confident speaker. And like, you are going to achieve your pinnacle, like, pinnacle of communication. So how you are going to do it, everything like, I'm going to explain it to you now. So the first thing is what will you get? Like, first thing, like, you will be getting the LMS platform access, the learning management system access, where you can, like, the competitive exams. Otherwise, like, if you have so many people like you'll be in the competitive exams, I believe, like UPSC, otherwise IELTS or GRE, TOEFL. There are so many competitive exams are there. I can able to understand that, right? So what I did was like I made this LMS platform, and for this platform, like you'll be getting 6 months free access. You'll be getting 6 months free access. You'll be getting it. Okay, so that is one thing. One thing, and one of the thing is free. And next one is like full access for the Karka dictionary, and it has a 39 languages dictionary, and like the law dictionary is there, and exam prep for IELTS and everything is there, and like there are different aspects of dictionary, and we are keep on updating this dictionary nowadays. So this access is also free, and in 39 languages. If you are a Telugu guide, like I think you know this Patapal Siksha, you can able to get it from the Telugu dictionary as well. So this access is completely free if you are opting for Pro Communicator. And then we have the career guidance, and that is provided by Manigandan, like that is completely owned by him. And also, he will provide the great guidance, like how to present yourself in the LinkedIn, Naukri, and large many like job search sites are there. How to like provide the resume and ATS compliant. Otherwise, what are the keywords you need to use it? What are the great keywords? And there are so many advices he can able to give it. So these are the things. Actually, it is free for 6 months. It is free for you. And there is a document generator is there. So where you can prepare your resume, otherwise any other document. And if you are a lawyer, otherwise a CEO of a growing company, it is actually like, you have so many documents for this also, like, we have 6 months of free access for you. Okay. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Give me a minute. Okay. These things will be free, like along with the pro communicator. So pro communicator, what is pro communicator, sir? You are telling from start, and I want to know what is pro communicator. You are telling now. Okay, sorry guys, sorry folks. I'm going to tell you now what is pro communicator. Pro communicator is 90 days program. Okay, so maybe like 1 hour program, and we usually run it on 6:30 at morning. And what is happening here is like we thought about like what is communication, and we will make you in the difficult position. No, this is not going to happen in that way. It will be like fun filled session, and you can it is like very the platform is very unique, and it's a friendly environment. It is not like the pressurized environment. It's not going to be. It's like a friendly environment. I am very happy to do the mistakes over here because the environment is like that, and it is not like why did you did this? You should be like there's a grammar police is correcting always. It's not like that. For us, it is the communication is important, and you have to come forward and speak. That is more important. You will be getting that confidence through pro communicator. That I can assure you. That I can able to promise you. And who for to whom this program is? This is the program for everyone. Okay, for an entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, it's a startup owner. Like if you are finding your product and you want to deliver the product in a right way. So how to do the sales speeches, and how to go to the companies and get the business done, right? So for those people, the entrepreneurs, it will be really useful. And the corporate leaders, they have the great teams, and they have to run the teams, and they have to deliver and articulate their ideas, vision, mission, everything, and OKRs, KPIs, and many things. If they want to deliver it in correct way, for them also this is very useful. And students and freshers, there are many freshers we have here today. For students and freshers also, this is very important because they have to go through these interviews, right? Today we have seen so many rounds and perspectives and many things, especially the group discussions. We never know what the topic is coming up, and that time what we need to do, right? So these are the situations will come, and we need to try to handle it. How we are going to handle it? So we need to come to pro communicator to know it, right? So it is like I'm going to tell how to do that also. So don't worry about it. And next is working professionals. If you are a especially the people are in mid managers, like mid-level managers and mid-level careers they have, and if they want to get a promotion, if they want to go into the next level, for them this is very important because the leadership is all about communication, communicating your ideas correctly, fluently. So this is very important for them. So what will you get it like? You will be getting the confidently speaking and the public speaking, and the structured thinking and clarity. So if you are saying something like no, all the words at once, it won't come. You'll be providing the structure. One by one, you are going to tell it, and from the data, facts, whatever you have, from that you are building the speech. That speech will provide you the trust. That trust will be providing the leadership, right? So that's the presence of leadership, and that is you'll be getting it through this. And the persuasion and influence, you can ask your team members, you can ask some of them to do something. This world requires so many trees, and to have this global warming, I know Chennai is hot today. That is maybe the Trichy is raining, or Coimbatore is raining, or Metropolitan is raining. That is different case. But the global warming is there. You have so many ideas to tell. What will you do? You have to persuade the audience, persuade the people. How will you do that, right? So we have the projects for that as well. You have that executive presence. If you have entered into the boardroom, you have that executive presence. Your body language, voice modulation, everything shows who you are. Whether you are a leader, otherwise a follower, that shows, right? So that you can learn it from here. And grammar and language persuasion. So we are the grammar police. Sorry, we are not going to be a grammar police. We are just not no. We will teach you what is communication grammar. Okay, what is required for communication. Those things only we are going to tell it to you. And we also provide the industry level certification. And with that thing also, you can say, I'm a certified pro communicator, right? So that you can able to tell. So what are the projects we have, right? Sir, you said so many things. What you have? You tell me. Huh? So you tell me. So I'm going to tell that admit me. Okay. So I think we have admitted you, Manigandan sir. Okay. Oh, yeah, again he gone. Okay. I think it's raining in Trichy and the southern part of Tamil Nadu, I believe. So okay. Oh yeah, he'll admit him. Okay. Marigan finally admitted you. Okay, so this is a icebreaker. We have the first speech is icebreaker. What is icebreaker? Just breaking the ice. What is icebreaker? So if you folks don't know about me, right? If I start giving the introduction about myself, then that ice got broken. So you know about me, and we all know about ourselves, right? So that is the icebreaker. So telling about introduction about ourselves, so that is ice breaking introduction speech. So how to provide the introduction? We won't judge you over there. We just like introduction like what is your name, like where you studied, what are your hobbies, what are the fight you have with your brother and sister, everything like you can tell it in the introduction speech. We won't judge you there, like we just it'll be like introduction speech. That's a project. We provide you the objectives, how much minute you have to speak, and what are the things can be included. We provide you the template properly, everything we'll provide you. It is not like you just provide the introduction speech. It's not like that. We provide you everything in structured way, and every 10 days you can able to achieve one project easily, and end of the 90 days you can achieve 8 projects. You can be the pro communicator certified. Okay, the second speech is about structuring the speech. So introduction, body, conclusion, and where how to start the speech, with a question, otherwise quote, otherwise with the story, how to start the speech. That's a hook, right? So the content of the speech and the ending, conclusion of the speech. So these are the things are very important when you are started delivering the speech. This is your second speech, second project. Third project is okay. You know how to give the introduction. You know how to structure the speech. Now talk with purpose. Okay, so for entrepreneurs, what I have did was I have started giving the introduction of their company and organize and telling about their products and telling about the specific product, which is more useful for them. So you can also do like that, specifically you can talk about one thing which is important to you. Otherwise, if you want to tell to audience, otherwise to this world, if you want to tell something very unique thing that, you can select it and you can emphasize it and you can start telling and delivering about it. And then the delivery of speech, the voice modulation, how to raise, how to reduce, and how to pause, how to which space, which tempo you have to provide that speech. That things you can able to learn it from the voice modulation. This body language, your speech and your body language have to be synchronized equally, so that when when the person is taking your speech, right, that person able to take it very easily, that speech, and it will be delivered very greatly. So do you know who's a great body language and having the great presence in the speech, any people, anyone, anything coming across to you, anyone coming across to you? Pujita, Humera, Harini, Mohit, Naveen sir, who? Saditya, yes, Saditya, sorry. Sarukuri, Udeshri, any speaker coming in your mind, anyone, any political leaders also fine, any heroes, actors, anyone is also fine. I'm not going to judge you, at least. Very, very safest crowd is this one. Okay. No, 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 no. I am not going to step in and want to be, no, don't want to be in the trouble. Huh? Is that so? I don't think so. We are all confident, great people here, right? We are going to rule the world. Are we in? Okay. No one is coming across your mind, who's the greatest speakers, I could say Steve Jobs is a great presenter, and when they are having that iPod or from their pant pocket, and they have shown that to the world, this is going to be music, and this is going to change the music world. That's just a fantastic presentation. Obama is the greatest speaker. I love Abdul Kalam's speeches, very clear, clarity, everything in his speech he has, right? So really love these kind of follow these kind of people. Simon Sinek. Who is your favorite leader? Who is your favorite person in that? You don't follow anyone? You don't follow anyone? Yeah? I feel like I'm talking to wall. Navya? Okay. Anyways. Okay. So that kind of voice modulation, body language, these are the things you can able to learn and also deliver it, okay, as a project. And visuals, like you can able to take a mobile phone, otherwise a product, and you can able to talk about this product also. And also you can able to do it in the PowerPoint presentation, how to do this visualized presentation that you can learn from us. It is not only these stuff, you can also learn how to be entertaining speaker, how to be humorous speaker, how to have this presentation mastery, and dynamic leadership you can able to showcase. And also it is not only the communication you are going to learn. I can say there are 59 soft skills you can able to learn from the pro communicator session. Do you want to know what are those? Anyone? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we are 13 people now. Okay, so next one is please, anyone, please chat with me, anything is good, right? So evaluation, the feedback session. So if the person want to grow, right, we need to advise them properly, right? It is not like you did bad, you are very bad person, you're the baddest person in the world. If you are telling like that, no, whether now somebody will come and hear you, sir. No, right? So you have to say you did really, you are a very great person, you are really doing the good things. And if you are including these things here, your project will be, your work will be really great. So if you're telling that in the nicest way, right? That's the type of feedback we have to provide, so that that person have to grow into the next level. That kind of mentality we need to have, and we need to give the feedback. So that is the project I have given. So any one of the speech here, they have to give the feedback. That is the one project. And next project is influencing the people. So if the as I mentioned earlier, you can talk about the global warming, recycling things. There are so many things you can able to influence the people, persuade the people to do something, right? So that is the influencing the project. The finale, whatever the things you have learned, 7 projects. So the finale project will be you have to include everything, and you have to deal with the final speech, and it will be pro communicator certified. Okay. So these things, what are the things daily sessions we'll have? We will be providing 1 minute 1 minute pitch practice, how to provide the pitch, how to provide the sales pitch, especially for the sales people. It is very important to provide the sales pitch. Sir, we are having this fantastic product, and this is helping many people. And these are the values we are providing. We want to have this kind of process. And then, sir, after having this, you'll be getting the getting the greatest value out of it. And what are you going to do today? If you say like this, then your product will be sold very nicely. So this kind of sales pitches, you can able to learn. And don't think about MNCs about only work on the projects. Sometimes you have to influence the people, sometimes you have to negotiate, sometimes you have to sell the products, sometimes you have to deliver the products, sometimes you have to own the entire team, so entire team's delivery also. So these things really helpful for you. And quick topics practice. So we'll provide one topic. You have to talk about 1 to 2 minutes. That is also there. And the grammar and the language session. It is not, as I said, it's not like the police grammaring thing. You have to direct participle, indirect participle. We don't bore you with that. Only the thing which is required for the communication, that we are going to provide it to you. And one-to-one mentoring sessions, we say suppose one session is 2000, like we are providing for 12 weeks. Each session you can have it like one session per week you can have it. So one-to-one mentoring session uh, somebody asked me, I think her name is what is her name? Abhinaya. She asked me, whether we can have this one-to-one conversation. This kind of conversation, one-to-one have conversation, you can have it in the pro communicator session. You can improve, not only improving your communication, and also you can ask us, what we are, whether we are doing good or not. We also can learn from you. So that is what, the one-to-one mentoring session we are also going to provide. So continuous feedback support, every session, end of it, we're going to provide a feedback to you, where are you and where you can do better. And if you are doing better, continue to do it. Why stopping? Let's do it. Let's rock it. That's what I'm going to say about it, ladies and gentlemen. And then leadership opportunities. You can run the entire session, and we can say the tag roles, you can be the timer, or counter, grammarian. You can be take any roles, and also you can evaluate the speaker, right? Evaluate the speaker's speech also. That is also, that freedom also will be provided to you. Those kind of leadership opportunities we will be providing it to you. Say suppose if you are a MC of one meeting, right? That provides you so many skill sets, project management, scheduling the meetings, many the negotiation. You are going to talk with many people, and you are going to talk about theme, and you are going to talk, and you have to run the team and run the meeting on your own. So this is going to helpful in the corporate, when you started working, right? That time also this skill sets will be really helpful to you. So any guesses, what could be the price of this pro communicator? Huh? What is the price? What can be the price? Any guesses? At least please speak. Now we are. Come on, guys. Harini. Hello, Harini. Are you there? Hello. Bagunara. Navya. Aditya. Syed. Are you able to hear me? What could be the price? Please unmute. Please. Please don't make me to say so many pleases. Could you please unmute yourself? Everyone? Hello? Hello? Yes, Syed. Yes, go ahead, sir. Okay. If I ask the question, people are leaving, huh? What is this? Okay. Anyways, with all the drums roll, I don't want to don't burning many years again. This with all the drums rolling, with the heartbeats we have. I'm going to release the prizes today. So we have two plans over here. So the monthly access for this is 4,000 rupees. And don't worry, we will be enabling 6 months access for the other tools. For monthly access for Pro Communicator is 4,000 rupees. And if you are taking 3 months, the whole session for whole thing, 90 days it will take. I think many students are here. I believe their English is good, they can able to speak, but the less confidence, and if they want to improve in the interview, and they want to talk to the management, they want to talk to the HR, and they want to be confident speaker. They want to enter into the group discussion, debate level. Hey, give me the topic. I am the person which you are expecting to answer the question. Okay, that kind of a confidence, if you want to have, you need to have the clarity, structure, and lots and lots of the topics in your head. It should be there, and for that reason, we are having these uh, pro communicator sessions for you. It is tailored, we understand each and every person's requirement, and we will be nudging them little bit, and we will be providing them the structure for them, and will make them as a very good communicators. Don't worry, how it will be, and there is a strict environment. No, it is like in a friendly environment. So who is going to be the members and audience over there is people like you, right? It is not like the great speakers are going to be over there. Obama is going to sit next to you. No, it is not like that. It is like your friend is going to sit next to you, and the person who knows you, otherwise who resembles you, that person is going to sit next to you. So, I mean, sit next to you means like everything is in online nowadays, so you can attend these sessions online. Any questions? At least now. At least now. Any questions you have? Anyone? So we have the early bird offer. Who is going to be right now paying it and becoming the member? Hello? Hello? Okay. Let's see. Any questions? Any questions about this program or pro communicator? Otherwise, the presentation which we have given. No questions? Kalivani madam, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything you want to say?
So any rebate, I mean, people are who are participating now, enrolling now, will they get any rebate on that or any discount?
Okay, I
Any people,
can. Yeah, go ahead, madam.
are any people interested to join here? Shall we share the link?
Okay, I'll share the link to them. So I can do one thing, Kalivani madam. So since you asked, like, I can give 500 rebate for the people who are especially for the 90 days access who are they getting it, right? So I can give 500 rebate. It will be 9,500 for them.
Yeah, nice opportunity actually. For the 90-day program, it's already a discounted price, 10,000, and again 5,000 rebate is a good chance for you guys to get into that, and you will be uh, become a pro communicator, and you will be very nice in your meetings and the presentations, everything. So all the public speaking skills, everything will be fun, and you can join very well. Anyone interested to join over here?
But that also silent people. Harini, Syed, Naveen, Mohit, and known people. Okay. Okay. So, no worries. Like, one of our representative will call you and they will provide you the details to you. Then also you can take a decision. And this is not the first time we are running it. Like, this is we have already running, for last year we have run this program. We are very successful and we got very good testimonials here. And I not believe, I'm sure, this is going to be helpful for you for your interviews. Otherwise, whatever you are doing in the career, otherwise in your life also, the communication is very important, I can say. So take the communication seriously and be the member and have this cohorts. We are very we need the people like you, friendly people like you, and I'm sure you'll be excelling and reach your pinnacle over there. So if there are any questions, I can give last 10 seconds to you. Okay. I said last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So how's the session? Anyone want to tell? Feedback? No feedback? Okay. Thank you. Thanks everyone. And we can end this session, right? Okay. If not any other questions, we can end this session. Whatever it may, the reason you have joined me, all your dreams comes true. Have a great day ahead. Thank you. Bye.